Connie, so happy to be here with Connie Dieken. Connie, you're doing such fantastic work. 5-time Emmy Award winner, one of our 100 coaches, multiple 3-time Hall of Fame person, broadcasting, speaking, such a great background, and author of some wonderful books, such as Become the Real Deal, Talk Less, Say More. So, tell me about leadership influence. Your research has identified 4 different styles to help people get to those outcomes. What would be the 4 styles you talk about?
Well, I'm a social scientist, so I've spent the last 2 decades trying to dissect what influence is, because I recognized that we weren't all talking about the same thing when we talked about influence. So in our studies, and I've worked with sociologists and psychologists on this, our team put together a grid. We noticed that there were 2 variables, and we plotted them on a 2x2 matrix on people who were actually influential. What we found is, if you can think of the vertical axis as being gain, is it self-centered, meaning it's one-sided gain, or is it mutual? And then on the horizontal axis, it's sustainability. How long does this change last? Is it short term or is it long term? And from that, then we found that there's 4 styles. Dominators, manipulators, persuaders, and influencers. Now, dominators are a person down in the bottom right-hand quarter there, where what they are trying to do is to have long-term impact, but it's only self-centered. It's for them. So they will coerce and they will control for long-term compliance, which can often lead to catastrophic change. So when you look at people like Kenneth Lay or those like Bernie Madoff, that is what happens. They are often brought down by a whistleblower. The next category, moving to the left on the bottom, are manipulators. And we all know those. You've seen so many. They will mislead or they will apply pressure in order to get what they want. They'll use power plays and hissy fits. They'll do anything to get what they want, and it's all short term. Think of Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos on that, or from that fire festival, people may recognize the name Billy McFarland. Those manipulators tend to flame out faster than the dominators. Now let's move up to the top quadrants, the top left quadrant on this 2x2. That's where persuaders live. Many people who believe they are influential are actually persuasive. And that means they're not getting long-term results. And so they'll use a worker bee mentality, they'll use rhetorical appeals, they'll use their charisma, anything to get people to do something now. The trap of persuasion is that you are completely vulnerable to the next persuasive person who comes along.
And if they're better than you, you lose.
My life's work is to help leaders move from that left quadrant of persuasion into true influence, where you elevate and shape the future by leading lasting change. But of course, the first person you have to influence is you. My goal is to help people understand influence and then be able to move there so that they can lead lasting change and not just these little one-offs, because they are absolutely hurting their own opportunities in life and aren't making the contributions to the world that they could by thinking short-term.
I think what you're doing is fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you, Marshall.